I wanted to talk about sobriety. Not really. I'm not really talking about sobriety, but I'm talking about drugs and alcohol because we separate those. Uh, Coffee. I'm not going to talk about coffee. I'm working on I'm working on that one myself. So I was writing an event description recently, and I was talking about food and drink, and I heard this little voice say, "Oh, it's a sober event," and I was like, "Excuse you, is it? I'm not offering alcohol or drugs, and I'm not inviting it. But why would I call it a sober event?" So I kind of turned to look at this little voice and was like, "Why? Why did you hand that to me?" It's like, "Oh well, okay. By default, it's going to be sober." And again, I was like, "Is it? I don't know." um, I was thinking about how substances can really be the lubricant that help a lot of people show up. Uh, I know that I have definitely used a shot of vodka in order to get into my therapy session. I have definitely done that. I have most definitely sat outside my therapist's office and smoked cannabis. Yep, that got me through that hour. Um, and so I guess I wanted to say that though I don't use substances when I'm with clients, I do make space for that because I know that that can make such a difference for folks to be able to be in their body, to be able to be present, um, to look at the things that can be hard to look at or feel. So I have had clients who uh, show up already smoked, and I've had clients that actually want to sit with me and smoke and kind of chat as a just like not session, but just like, let me land in this space. And I don't partake with them, but I'm happy to sit with them. Um, and that's nice. I do find it kind of interesting that I don't know of any clients that use alcohol in that way. And it just might be that they haven't told me because oddly enough, it's less socially acceptable, I think, to desire a shot in order to do a thing versus to have a puff of cannabis to do a thing. But then I'm from California, so grain of salt, grain of salt. Now that I think about it, nah, never mind. Anyway, so cultural in context. So I've used, I do use MDMA, DMT, cannabis, psilocybin to deepen my own self reflection and do my own internal work at times, especially in ritualized usage. And I do so with others to build or explore intimacy for sure. So I suspect that with time, this will come into my work more. It's not very present right now, but it's not explicitly a no. So I've also found that for some folks, especially around uh, physical touch, even just talking about it, you know, um, they can get a softening with that kind of access, you know. So yeah, I feel like I've been holding spaces like this. I know I have been since I was a teenager. Friends, lovers. I was homeless for a chunk in my late teens, early 20s, and a lot of folks there. And I really saw the need for this as coping support and understanding why people were using. And um, I think I just so easily held those spaces because I could see where that was resourceful for them, even if I wasn't partaking. I was not of interest to me for the most part. It just wasn't what I reached for. I reached for sexuality, and I reached for physical pain. So instead of uh, getting into drugs, I got into BDSM. So different strokes. Excellent. So that was definitely my practice of choice to hacking the chemicals in my brain, you know? So, but I think having that understanding made it easy for me to hold space for others in those needs. I mean, I also have 10 years of working with U.S. veterans and folks living without housing security, and seeing the way that self-medication can both support the ability to show up and hinder it. Uh, I can appreciate that complexity. I really can, wherever we might be. We had a harm reduction model, which I greatly appreciate, and it's not without its complications and critiques for sure. But generally, I really love and adore a harm reduction model. I think that showing up um, how you're able is wonderful. So, and then sometimes you can't show up, and that's fine. But yeah. I was also thinking about like the somatic sex education, the 2-year program I've just finished, and it's what called to me about it was part of it was that one of the founders, Kevin Jesse, is outspoken about substance usage and plant medicinals and the support of these things in trauma work and touch care, and that really spoke to my heart. Like I really understand that. I definitely between sacred sexuality stuff and BDSM stuff and polyamory and so many things. Like I've seen it be a resource. I've used it as a resource, and so that really called to me. I mean, also with that program, like I saw one of the other founders, Kareen, was talking a lot about solidarity with sex workers, and Kai Cheng was talking about social justice, and Captain Liam was talking about harm reduction and queering somatics, and so there was a lot of things about that program. But the focus of this ADHD focus of this point, the substances and plant medicinals as explicit invitation. I really love the opportunity that allows for people. You know, it'd be one thing having an event where that is not explicitly named, but shared is a totally different thing. Like consent, definitely for everybody. So usually what I ask is like, if you find that these things, you feel that these things are paramount for you to show up, can you please let me know so that we can be on the same page? Um, and then I can navigate the conversation with the group. So, yeah, thoughts, ideas, considerations, concerns that y'all have around plant medicinals and substance usage when it comes to somatic work, be it by yourself or with a professional or with friends or lovers. I'd love to hear. So feel free to send me your questions or comments. So I'm having this conversation more and more. So thought I would open the door up here as well.